Controversial statement right out of the gate. The Queens Park Swizzle is the better version of the Mojito. If you agree with that statement, give me a big thumbs up emoji in the comments below. Now, after that opening salvo, it might not surprise you to learn that the Queens Park Swizzle is actually one of my favourite rum cocktails. I do prefer it to the Mojito. But today, I am going to put it to the test. We have got a three-way experiment going on because I only just recently found out, don't know why this skipped my attention, but I only just recently found out the original Queens Park Swizzle, even though it was invented in Trinidad, wasn't actually made with Trinidadian rum. And that's how I've always made and enjoyed it. So today, that is what we are testing out. Now, my love for this cocktail kind of ignited during COVID, the great big pandemic of 2020, because long-time viewers of my channel will maybe remember Daniel coming on, the global Angostura ambassador, and spent an hour with us showing us how to make a Queens Park Swizzle properly. But what I didn't realise until very, very recently is that actually this cocktail predates Trinidad Rum being even made on Trinidad, on the island of Trinidad. This cocktail is way, way, way before then. So back in the day, if you look at some various pieces of literature out there, it does call for a Demerara Rum from Guyana. Now, because Daniel showed me that recipe and his method, the method more than the recipe of how to actually make the Queens Park Swizzle, I've actually never really paid attention to the recipes in these books. But both of these books give you a very different version and actually a very different rum that you should be using in your Queens Park Swizzle. And that's what we're going to be testing out. We're going to be testing out the Angostura version versus Beachbum Berry remixed versus Martin Cate and Smugglers Cove. So first up, I'm going to make the recipe that I know how to make, that I was taught how to make by Danielle. And this is the Angostura version. Now, I don't think the Angostura rum is up to you. I really do. It's this one, 1919. I really do prefer the 1919 in this cocktail. However, the 7 is going to make a great one. Even if you go for the Angostura Gold or even a slightly older one, they're all going to work. It's just my preference for the flavour. I've loved 1919 for a lot of years. It is the rum that I've kind of picked out to make this. But all you want is a build in the glass. I am fortunate. Thank you very much, Claire. I'll always give you a shout out when I use this. Claire sent me this Lele stick. She managed to sort one of my subscribers managed to source one during COVID, and it's fantastic. I love it for this. But you can also use a bar spoon. Of course you can. Now, without going back to watch this live stream, I think this is pretty much 99% how Danielle taught me to make it. We're starting off with 30 ml of freshly squeezed lime juice, and then we're going to go 30 ml, so we're matching it, 1 ounce of Demerara sugar syrup, and then we're just going to whack in, I've counted these out, 12 to 14 mint leaves. You can go a bit lighter, as you'll find out in a minute from the other recipes, but we did this with Danielle, so I'm just going to spank it, 10 to 12 to 14 mint leaves, pop them in. And now we're just going to add a little bit of crushed ice. So crushed ice in, this is a little bit of labour of love. A kind of swizzle, it's built in sort of 2 or 3 kind of stages if you like, but you kind of want to stick your Lele stick in there first. We're just going to swizzle. Put your palm of your hand in between there and just run that backwards and forwards. Let's say a bar spoon will work as well. Give it a good old swizzle. Then we're just going to add a bit more crushed ice. Not too full, just about sort of 3/4 of the way full. And then we're going for 1 shot straight away. So 30 ml. So there's 2 ounces in this, but 30 ml of the rum to start off with. Remember, I said this is a bit much a labour of love. So 30 ml of your rum, and then it's another swizzle for a couple of seconds just to combine those ingredients again. More crushed ice. The other 30 ml of rum. Another very quick swizzle. Remember, it's the reason, the method for this is just to get that little bit of dilution from the ice. You know, doing it in this way in 3 or 4 stages will give you just that lovely amount of dilution that really does make this cocktail. So quick little swizzle again, crown with a bit more crushed ice. And then this is where Danielle, the Angostura recipe, is slightly different from the rest, because Danielle called for 6 to 8 dashes, which I've always done and I love, of Angostura bitters. So 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Today's video is sponsored by me. If you had a chance to download my free rum ebook yet, if not, you'll find the link below in the description of this video, or you can scan the QR code that's popping up on screen right now. My free rum ebook gets updated twice a year and is packed full of interesting information and tips of how you can enjoy rum. It also includes a few basic rum cocktail recipes, plus how to make one of my favourites. This is a dragon fruit and papaya daiquiri. So what are you waiting for? As I said, you'll find the link in the description below, or you can scan that QR code. Right, back to the video. Now, obviously, this is going to be a slightly biased experiment because this is the method, the cocktail, the ingredients that I've used for 2-3 years now. And there's a reason I absolutely love it. I've seen articles where people don't agree with the whole layering of the Angostura on top. They much prefer it sort of blended, like swizzled in. But for me, it's the change of that drink, how you drink it as it goes down, and how gradually over time that Angostura kind of just blends in with the cocktail. For me, that's the attraction. I love how the drink evolves. And again, in the comments below, if you make this version, what do you prefer? Do you prefer swizzling in the Angostura? Do you prefer layering it on top? I want to hear feedback from you guys. But this, I love it. The Demerara Sugar just works with the rum. The rum is light, but with a little bit of body to it as well. It's just a fantastic, fantastic drink. I won't have a bad word said against this, but are these other two versions now, are they going to be even better with the different styles of rum? Let's find out. Now, this second version is coming from Beachbum Berry's remix, but interestingly, he does call this the Noa Noa, okay? But he does reference it to being just an alternative version of the Queens Park Swizzle. So it's got that history there. Now, doesn't call for the Angostura bitters in this cocktail, but does call for a Demerara Rum. Now, caveat, my first thought was the Eldorado 12. I've completely forgotten. I haven't restocked that bottle yet. There was a minuscule amount there. As I keep saying, here in the UK, Eldorado 12 is not a cocktail rum because it's just too expensive. Really, most people don't kind of even think of it there. But I know in the US and Canada, it is so cheap compared to what we pay. Our equivalent, even this is quite expensive for what it is. You might actually go, if it's here, you might actually go the Eldorado 5 because it's much more on a cocktail wavelength. But I think the 8 does give me notes of the 12. The 12 is, I'm going to say the 12 is a better rum. It is, but I just haven't got enough for it to use there. So I'm interested in feedback here. But I'm going to make this cocktail in a similar style. And I'm just going to quickly whiz through it. But the big change here is the ratios. So first up, we're the same. We're 30 ml of lime juice. However, the Demerara Sugar now comes down to 15 ml instead of 30. And then Beachbum's recipe calls for 4 to 6 mint leaves. So I've split the difference. I've gone 5. Remember, I put 12 to 14 in the first one. Now, after a bit of crushed ice, I'm going to do this in 2 stages, but here's the big shift. We've gone from 60 ml of rum to 90 ml of rum. 90. So I'm going to do this in 2 stages. We're going to do 45 ml, and then I'm going to give a quick swizzle, top up, add more rum, and then swizzle again. So Beachbum's recipe from Remixed is potent. Now, it is stronger. That's the first thing. It is. We've got an extra 30 ml of rum. We've got less sugar in there, so it's not as sweet. The one note I always get, especially from that rum, but actually a little bit from Eldorado 12 as well, is the bitter coffee chocolate. And I don't get that from that rum. And I think yes, the 90 ml is emphasising that. Perhaps 60 ml would have dialed that back. But that's... I'm not falling in love with this cocktail so much. I don't think it's the amount of rum. I think it's the actual rum, if that makes sense. I just don't think those flavours, that Demerara profile, necessarily fits that wrong. Eldorado 12 might have been a completely different kettle of fish. I will say it now, 60 ml may have put it more on my wavelength than 90 ml. But it's just not as good as that. I don't get the bitters. I need that extra little bit of sweetness in there. because you've got, don't forget the alcohol, the Angostura bitters are alcoholic as well. So with those dashes, you need that little bit of extra sugar and that bitterness in there. So it's still not an overly sweet cocktail by any stretch of the imagination. I just think that is more balanced. I think it's the rum at fault. That's all it is. I don't think the rum fits that. Might be me, but that's a strong 10 out of 10. This is a 5 at best. Now, when I was researching this video, that was the recipe that I wasn't looking forward to. I thought that would be the one that I just didn't like because I thought in my head it was rum. The one I am really intrigued about trying is Martin Cate's version, and it is called the Queens Park Swizzle in here. It is a different rum again, still Demerara, but he calls for a Black Blended Demerara. So my skipper that I haven't played, I used to love this rum, and I still do. I just haven't used it for a long while doing it, and you can sort of see the colour of that. It is a darker, slightly sweeter Guyana rum, essentially still Demerara. OVD is another version of this that we can get quite easily here in the UK. Maybe, Karuba's Jamaican. I forget of your black. Here's one in the comments below, guys, for the regular viewers, the US guys. What is a black blended rum for you? Hamilton, maybe? Hamilton? If they got a lower ABV, a 40% version, whatever it is, comment. Anyway, so we've got a black blended rum, but again, the ratios are different to Danielle's from Angostura. So first up, this calls for a lot less lime juice, 15 ml as opposed to 30 ml in the previous two. That is, however, matched by 15 ml of the Demerara sugar. So as Danielle Angostura's version was 30 ml and 30 ml, this is 15 ml and 15 ml. Now this is where it does get interesting because Martin Cate only calls for 4 mint leaves. Very specific, not 4 to 6, 4. I've got 5. I've got 5 because I've got a smaller one in there, but yeah, four decent sized mint leaves. Spank, put them in, and then going to crushed ice, add a bit of rum, give it a swizzle, and then come back and repeat the process again. And this is only 30 ml of rum this time round, and then 30 ml again. So we're not 90 ml, we're 60 ml in total. Now I have just gone back to check. I completely forgot. Martin Cate was the one that said swizzle in the Angostura bitters, but he only wants 2 dashes of Angostura bitters compared to like the 6 to 8 in there. So I'm going to do 2 dashes. I won't get my lele stick in there anymore, but I'm just going to swizzle it up a little bit with a bar spoon. So there you go. You can see the colour difference between these now, and that one's properly frosted up there. Obviously, the darker rum will be at play here as well, but swizzling in those Angostura bitters will kind of make a big difference. If you swizzle that in, you're going to get effectively the same colour. Here's the taste test though. Now that is interesting. It's not hitting me the same way that does. It's the rum. The rum. And that's the whole reason I did do that at 90 ml, because I knew I was going to bring this one with 60 ml. So there was no point really doing that at 60 because this is still a Demerara rum, but it's just aged in heavily charred barrels, if you like. So you've got a little bit more intense. So I knew I'd get a rough ABV like for like. It's the rum. I really do prefer. So the big difference is this is going to have blends of pot still in it. We don't know the blend of that. And I kind of do. There is a little bit of Port Morant in that, but it has got quite a bit of column still in it as well. But you have got that wooden pot still goes into this one. I'm not sure if you get for size or more in this one. I don't think you do. I think that's just the 15, the Eldorado 15. You get the other 2 sort of wooden pot stills, or the wooden column still and the wooden pot stills. I think the lighter rum from Trinidad, the column still, out and out column still rum, is my favourite. I love this cocktail, and actually you've got a little more sugar, a little volume of sugar in there as well. You've got more mint leaves in there. I just think this is a much more rounded cocktail. I really do. And that's the one I'm going to come back to time and time and time again. I do think it's better than the Mojito. I really love that. It's a bit labour intensive, but there we go. What do you think? What do you think of the rums? Which rum would you kind of use in this? I tell you what would be a great shout as well for regular viewers. Something like that Bounty. That Bounty is going to work in there as well because it's not as heavy. It's not as full-bodied. Even though it's a dark rum, it's nowhere near like a Demerara rum in that sort of sense. So that could be a good shout, like Plantation OD, that sort of style. Could be a good shout in there. But I just firmly sit with that. Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. And don't forget, I still want to hear, this is ongoing, what cocktails would you like me to attack? We've now done the Queens Park Swizzle. We've done the Rum Runner, the Mai Tais, the Pina Coladas. I've forgotten what else. Whatever recent videos we've done. Keep the suggestions coming in the comments below. I'll see you next time.